everyone, this is Vidette Vanderweide, your host of the Reinvention Channel. I want to thank you for being here today, and I have another exciting spotlight interview today with a wonderful woman who has brought a beautiful invention to our world. And let me give you a short bio of her, and just to do the official thing, and then we're going to get right into our conversation with Katie. So today I'm bringing you Katie Niemeyer, and she's the founder of Handana. 26 years ago, a severe reaction to a medication sent her to the burn unit at Barnes Hospital in St. Louis. She was diagnosed with Stevens-Johnson syndrome, an autoimmune reaction causing your skin to blister to the point that you have second and third degree burns. Holy cow. Unlike many with SJS, she survived and was not left blind or severely scarred. Yet as she started to run again, she discovered that SJS did leave her eyes very sensitive. If sweat dripped in her eyes, it would burn so badly that she would find it hard to focus and stop. Then it caused her to stop working out and running. Wearing hats and sweatbands would help. However, in Texas, she found that the sweat would still drip, causing extreme pain, and again, give her an excuse to stop working out. So with her first marathon in sight, she set out to find a solution. How wonderful. That's when she created Handana, which is a high-performance, fashionable sweatband that wraps around your hand. Who knew? You can use both sides of the hand to wipe sweat from your neck or forehand while leaving your hand completely free. So Handana does more than protect her eyes. It became a powerful reminder to cross her finish lines and to persevere. I love it. It's Katie's hope that it becomes a symbol and an inspiration for all of us to cross our finish lines, no matter what they are in our lives, and empower others to do the same, which is why we are here on the Reinvention Channel. So Katie, thank you for being here. I'm so excited to be interviewing. Finally, after some technical difficulties, we are here. So welcome.
Thank you, Vidette. I really appreciate it.
I love this. I love what the Handana means to you, which is the perseverance factor, which is why I chose you to be on the Reinvention Channel. So first, go back to being diagnosed with SJS, and tell us a little bit about your journey to coming up and thinking up the Handana.
Sure. When I was at the age 16, I had been on a medication for 3 weeks and started to have a reaction. I had some itchy eyes, a sore throat, a little redness on the face, and so we went to the pediatrician and we said, we think this is a reaction to the medicine. And the pediatrician said, no, it's probably strep throat, and they did a strep culture. It came back negative, sent me home that night on an antibiotic, and 2 days later I was in the burn unit.
Oh my gosh.
For my life. This is how quickly it happened. So it is pretty common that it's misdiagnosed initially, and my story seems to be the pattern for many of the people with Stevens-Johnson's, is that at first they think it's whether it be pink eye or strep throat or just the flu, and the next thing you know, you're in the hospital, literally fighting for your life. So,
wow. Yeah. So is it a common disease or no?
It is not a common disease, but now with social media, with Facebook and internet, I have found that it's not as uncommon as I had thought.
Right.
Now we have like a Stevens-Johnson's organization, a foundation to help support one another, and we also have a Facebook page, so we're able to connect throughout the world, hearing each other's stories, and it's really empowering just to connect with one another and support families that have lost others to the disease.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So my guess is that you felt like maybe you had a second chance with being kind of an exception to the rule.
Yes, exactly. And I just it comes with a lot of responsibility when you get a second chance at life. So one, I became a nurse because of the experience I had in the burn unit, and actually just a couple years ago I was able to revisit 4 of the nurses that took care of me over 20 years ago. They're still working in the burn unit. So it's an incredible visit, and to thank them. They remembered me, and I, of course, remembered each of them. So, and just to let them know that I was a nurse now, and and that a lot of that had to do with such great care from them. So, yeah.
So that happened at age 16, you said? Is that right?
Yeah. Yes.
So how long after that did you come up with the idea of Handana?
It was not until I was 39. I was training for my first marathon. I knew I was going to be 40 coming up, and it's always been on my bucket list. So I thought if I don't do it now, the body's not becoming any more unforgiving. So I needed to get that done. So I've always tied a bandana around my hand to wipe the sweat away. And I was training with a group, and this young hip girl said, "What a great idea. It takes the place of those terry cloth wristbands." And I went home that night and literally just thought, you know what, this is a good idea. Did some research. There wasn't really anything else out there besides the terry cloth wristbands from the 80s. And it literally went from idea to market in 6 months.
Wow. Okay. First, let's start with the idea part. Because I know my husband is the ultimate in coming up with ideas. And we have friends who knew him long before we were together who said, Vandy, who they call him Vandy, or last name is Vanderweide. Vandy thought of that, 15 years before it even came to market, and now we see these things that that he's thought of, but he didn't do anything with it. And how many of us have had ideas, and then we're like, oh, that was my idea. What made you go from having the idea to thinking, you know what, I'm going to do this? Because that's a pretty large step in and of itself for people.
I guess I'm just one of those type of people that I never want to regret not doing something. So I've always kind of been a go-getter, probably because of the time I spent in the burn unit at age 16. Once you get a second chance, you just live life to the fullest. And when I get an idea in my head, I usually pretty much persevere and go for it. So I literally went to Barnes & Noble and bought a book, and it did what the book said. And the reason I picked the book I did is because it was written by a woman, and she had invented something that was worn on the hand also. So I kind of just followed her model, and doors just kept opening. And I felt like, you know what, if God wants this to happen, then it'll happen. And every door that opened, I just kept moving forward, and was just really blessed with a lot of people that just stepped up and said, hey, I know so-and-so, or here, I can help you with this. And it's really just been easy.
Wow, I love it. Okay, I got the chills while you were talking because you hit on I'm writing notes down here as fast as I can because I think the lesson in all of this, and this is the common denominator of almost every interview that I have had so far, and that is that my guests have an idea, whether it's for a product or a service or whatever, and they just take the next logical step. And I think sometimes when we get these ideas, we're like, oh my gosh, getting it into Target and Walmart is my goal, and how do you even do that? So I'm not going to do anything. But you took the next logical step. You went to Barnes & Noble. And that's how simple it is to get ideas started or get something started. It's, hey, let me just go on the internet. Let me do a search. Let me go to Barnes & Noble. And then what I love that you said is you just said, doors just kept opening. And I think that, again, is another lesson for us all to learn, that when we're on the right path, the doors will open and the people will appear that can help us. Yeah. So the Handana went to market within 6 months. That's pretty fast. I feel like that might be uncommon. I don't know, but talk about going from the idea to seeing it, selling. That's a pretty big feat in your life. So talk about that.
I just started looking. My main thing was to design it. So my mother-in-law came in town with a sewing machine because I don't sew. Mm-hmm. So she came in town one weekend, and we worked all weekend on the design. I knew what I wanted in my head, and it was just getting the idea to her as she sewed. So that took a little while, and then the research on finding the fabric. It took me forever to find the fabric that I knew I wanted. But it's not easy to find that. I literally started at fabric stores in my area because I had never stepped into one before. I didn't realize they didn't have everything that I needed. So that took a while to get the fabric, but actually that was one of the doors that opened. When I finally found what I wanted, I emailed the lady. She's like, oh, sorry, you'd have to buy literally like yards of this stuff. And I said, I'm not even sure if this is going to take off. I just literally need the scraps from your floor. And she emailed me back. She's like, let me see what I can do. And she found a way to allow me to do small work. And I've been working with her ever since, and it's been great. But once we had the design and I had some made, I reached out to Zuma Half Marathon. It's a race series that was started by 2 women, and I love the story that they had. And they were going to be in our area. And so last spring, we debuted there at the expo and sold out pretty much. So,
wow. And will you show it? I saw it on your hand.
I did, yeah. I decided.
Lift it up just a little bit more. So it's not nice. It's a nice size. It's not your whole hand.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And it's designed to be worn on either hand, so there's really no wrong way that you can put it on.
Mm-hmm. And so what has the reaction been to it from the expo and as you're getting it into more and more markets?
Yeah, since we debuted at Zuma, we have reached out to many bloggers. We've had over 40 people that are, whether they do an ultra marathon or first-time runners, have blogged about it, and they all just really give us a really positive, upbeat review. I mean, everybody seems to love it. We got it on Amazon right away, and we started selling throughout the country. Canada loves it. They use it to wipe snot, so all the winter sports. I know. So,
well, in my mind, I was thinking it's much cuter than like the old school like terry cloth bandana. You know, like you match your hair down and everything. So that's pretty cool. I love that it's a snot rag too. That's like, hey, you know, all kinds of people come up with all kinds of, you know, purposes for it.
People like post on Facebook. They wear it when they're grilling. They wear it when they're carrying their beer to keep their hand from being cold. We've had musicians like violinists try it because they say they sweat and they need something quick to wipe. Yoga, CrossFit, cycling, spin class. It's amazing to see how it's being used. And it's just really cool.
So what was the process like finding a manufacturer of it? Because, I mean, you're not, obviously you said you're not a sewer, but your mother-in-law is not sewing it up in the living room. So I feel like that would be a big step as far as like, now what do I do? I have this thing, now who makes it for me?
Yeah. I was lucky. That was one of the doors that opened also. A girl that I worked with, she's an anesthesiologist, and she designed her own scrub line. They're called Blue Sky Scrubs, and she just suggested someone out of Dallas, and so I contacted them, and they have been wonderful. They just always do a great job. Everything that they promised, it's on time. So we've been really lucky with our manufacturer, and we love the fact that it's made here in the U.S. That's important.
Yes, huge. So where do you see this going? Where do you see it growing to?
You know, I didn't wake up saying I'm going to be an entrepreneur and I'm going to start my own business. So I've just let it lead me. And I really feel like it's a greater power that has a plan. And so it's not my plan to decide where it's going to go. I've just enjoyed the journey so far and being really just empowering women, athletes, people that are out doing good for others. And that's really been the cool part about this. And just to raise awareness for Stephen Johnson's.
Yes. Oh, is that what you're doing? Is there a part of proceeds or that go to SJS?
We are getting ready to set that up with the foundation. And yes, whenever I tell my story, I always make mention of that because that is part of the passion behind the product.
Gotcha. I love that. What I love that you just said, you said you just let it lead me. And I think I'm kind of starting to shift my own ideas of entrepreneurialism, and there's, you know, the big vision, you have the big vision and you strive for it and you try to make it happen. And what I'm trying to be more about in my own entrepreneurial journey is to let go and just allow it to happen. You know, I have this big vision, and I think many of us do, but I love the fact that you're allowing it to happen. You're allowing those doors to open, and that has been a challenge for me, just to let go of it all and just see it. But I'm trying to let go of it all, because I know that's what I need to learn in this whole thing. So thank you for saying that, because I think it's a very important lesson for all entrepreneurs. You know, whether you have a big vision or you just I love that you're just letting it go and create the vision. So that was a beautiful answer, and I thank you for that, because that was a big aha moment for me. How has this reinvented your life?
You know, I was at a point in my own profession where I had been working for many years, and I love my job as a nurse anesthetist. I went to graduate school in anesthesia and been doing that for 11 years. But I was really comfortable in my job, and I was looking for something because I'm kind of bored outside of work. My kids are a little older now, and yes, we have a busy life, but I just had a lot of downtime. And I feel like I just set this in my lap at just the right time to give me a new challenge. And so I've really enjoyed just filling my downtime with something that has not only challenged me, but just introduced me to so many incredible people. So, yeah. Yes,
what I love about this, and I think this is a huge lesson too, I want to point out, is I just did a tweet earlier today. I will every once in a while we'll get the question of, why should I reinvent my life? It's kind of, is it negating the life that I have? But we get to points, whether we do something we love, our businesses will get to a point where we're like, it's kind of get a little boring or a little stale. It's time to reinvent it. So I love that you came to that point. You recognized that it was time to what I call reinvent. You may not have termed it that at the time, but you decided to take on something that would allow you to up-level your life. And that, to me, is what reinvention is all about, constantly up-leveling and doing it when we're ready to do it. So how old are your kids? You mentioned your kids.
Yeah, my daughter is 15 and my son just turned 10.
So I bet, talk about that as a mom, just, allowing them to see this whole process unfold as well.
It has been a true blessing too. Like nothing else comes of this, just for them to have experienced taking an idea and running with it. Mm-hmm. They have learned so much, and I feel like I hope that I've taught them that no matter what they're faced in life or whatever ideas they have, just to go for it. Yeah. So that's really been important for me. Also for them to be a part of it. I mean, they help with the business, with taking orders and just learning it. I mean, they've learned so much that I hope that I've inspired them.
Well, I have no doubts that you have. I think, even when we don't think that they're listening or watching, they are. So I just had a conversation with another guest of the show a couple days ago now, and her daughter is now grown, but has watched her build this business over her entire life, and now her daughter's an entrepreneur and doing, learned from all the lessons that mom, that mom needed to teach. So I think I love hearing moms just going after their passion and having their kids just sit back and watch it, whether we think that they do or not. They're seeing and they're hearing what's going on. So I love that. And your kids are at that age too, where they get it. They understand it entirely. I mean, my kids were so little when I started. I don't really know if they got it, but I think they do now. So as far as talking to women, talking to people who are going to be watching this and about the idea of reinventing their lives or taking ideas, what's the golden nugget that you'd like to share with them? What's your passionate message to women?
Well, I like to say that, you mentioned it earlier, is just wherever you are in life, the inspiration behind our manifesto behind Handana is just you can cross your finish line no matter where it is in life. And you are inspiring others and empowering others along the way. And that's what I really hope is just encourage all athletes to go out and do whatever it is that they have in their head that they want to do. And recently, businesses are approaching me on how to grow the company, and that they're saying how I need to get Handana on an elite athlete. And it's really made me think about what Handana is about. And I didn't start running myself because I wanted to be an elite athlete. I can't even name somebody right now that is an elite athlete. But recently I connected with a woman who's making a documentary called From Fat to Finish Line, and it's about 12 strangers that came together and lost over 1,200 pounds amongst them, and they're documenting the story, and a few of them are wearing the Handana. And I told Allison, I'm like, it means more to me that you're representing Handana than any athlete, because that's what it's about. It's just about each of us who never thought we could do something in life, going out there and doing it.
Wow. That could be the whole interview right there. That was such a powerful piece, and because I believe that as well. When you were first diagnosed with SJS, was there any feeling of I'm the victim of this, and if so, how did you merge from kind of being a victim of it to being empowered by it, or were you always empowered by it right after the diagnosis?
I just recently have been thinking on this exact thing because a woman I was visiting in the burn unit who just recently had Steven Johnson's. I go and try to visit people that have been or that are going through it, and she's a mother of two, and she should have died. I mean, she is a true miracle to be alive, but she's left with some vision damage. A lot of times you're left blind from Steven Johnson's, and so she's very bitter and really struggling right now. And so she was asking me about how I got through it, and I don't ever remember feeling bitter or angry about or feeling like a victim. I have always said that I'm so thankful it happened to me, especially at age 16, because you go through something like that and you're not worried about being the prettiest or the smartest or the most popular anymore. I mean, I literally had to have people help me to the bathroom, or I couldn't eat for weeks. I mean, so I used to lay there and just dream of a ice cold Pepsi. So the little things in life, that is what I still to this day cherish. So I have always taken away from it that it was a blessing that it happened to me. and that each day is a gift.
And I believe that's why you are where you are now, and finding the success you are, because it's always a choice, and devastating moments in our lives become a choice. Do we become a victim of it, or do we become empowered by it? And whether you consciously said, I'm going to be empowered by it, you chose to go in that direction, and look where it's led you. And I think that is the biggest lesson, and I think it's a lesson for everyone watching, that things are going to happen, crappy things are going to happen in our lives, and it's our choice at that very moment to choose to take the victim road or to take the empowered road. And I love that. I love your story. I love everything that you're doing, and I love Handana. It's the coolest thing. So last minute nuggets. I mean, you said a beautiful thing a few minutes ago, but as we wrap up today, viewers, you can go to myhandana.com to learn more about Handana and to learn more about Katie here. But as we end this and bring this to a wrap, tell us one last thing that you'd like everybody to know.
I guess just like you said, for women out there, to take the next step. Don't be overwhelmed by the big picture or what you think is going to be asked of you, but just go out there and do the next thing that would be needed. Mm-hmm.
I love that. That's everything that I always tell anybody. They're like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, what's the next logical step? And now my husband always will ask me if I start to get like in my head. He's like, what's the next logical step? I'm like, oh, okay, it's that easy. So that was a beautiful way to wrap this up. Katie, thank you so much for your courage and sharing Handana with us. For the viewers out there, like I said, go to myhandana.com, check out that product, and check out Katie. And if you can tweet this interview, share it on Facebook, share it with your friends, because it's more than just a product that we're talking about. We're talking about women empowering themselves to live out a dream. Katie, thank you for being here with us on the Reinvention Channel. I so appreciate it.
Thank you, Vidette.
All right, everyone, this wraps up this Spotlight interview. Thank you for being here. We will see you on the next Spotlight interview. Have a good one.